SBF family, I thought I would take a little time and just wanted to do a little painting. So I hope you enjoy with me as I fix up, detail, and kind of customize the Legacy Day books just a little bit better than they are. I had already done 2 and wanted to finish the rest. The first one has a little dry brush on the page area. This one doesn't. I'm going to fix that up too. So here is an overview of all the ones in the before picture of what they are. Now while I'm doing it, I got some other things here that I want to work with too. I use Sharpies. Yeah, this is the book party purses that are a little plain and boring, and I just want to add to them. That was a simple line, but tons of potential. While I'm here, why don't I do up these glasswares too? So here is my favorite product, Bullseye 123 primer. It's hard to get in and out of the can, so I put some in a little container there. And we got white paint and just puffy paints. Those are optional, not really needed, but since I have them, I like to use them. And so let's begin our little project here. The Bullseye 123 primer is fabulous and even totes itself as being usable on all surfaces, no sanding. It's great. It can ruin your brushes if you let it dry up on your brush, so try to rinse it much in between so it doesn't cake at the top. Then that does become very hard. Protect your surroundings, and for sure take off any jewelry or anything important, because once it's on, it pretty much, once it cures, it's stuck. So here I start to just prime that area where the pages is. This alone, if you just do this, makes these books look so much more like books with the pages being white. For painting, my best tip, I've repeated this and I'm going to say it again, is bracing your hand. If you see, I'm double bracing both my hands, and that will give you the best, most secure painting. If you paint while your hands are in the air, it just doesn't, you just can't control it so much. So I hope that one you can take with you, the best for a painting tip of everything. Here I like to take my fully loaded brush, kind of get a little bit off to the side, and then do my line in one nice clean swoop, and then fill it in. Easy peasy. This primer won't fully cover it, but the main point is having a base so that it sticks to the plastic. I left this in real time just so you can kind of see, for those who are visual, exactly how little time this does take. Being careful if you got any paint while you're holding it on your fingers. Be sure where you're touching so you don't transfer it. Again, this stuff sticks really good. It can scratch off for a little while. It has that capability, but once it cures, it's pretty darn good. Of course, if you drop anything plastic with paint on it, you're going to chip it, but coming from my professional painting career, trust me when I say this is one of the best primers. Here, I'm showing you that fact. If you go over a little bit and you're not happy with it, you can use your fingernail just like this to either straighten up your lines, or just pick away something you might have bumped. Gets a little bit harder when the paint is thicker, but anyway, that's a really nice tip too. When you are all done using your primer, soap and water is best for cleaning your brushes, just to give it a really good clean. So while I had the primer out, I planned a couple extra things to do. Just makes the project, just gets a lot more done since I got this primer out anyway. Here's little areas on the binding that I put just a little extra primer. Not fully necessary depending on what look you were going for, but something I wanted to do. You can use the Sharpie on those bookends if you prefer. I'm going to show that in the rest of the video, how I use the Sharpie too. Very handy. So I have my base coat. Now I'm going to put the paint, probably, I think I did 2 coats to get fully white. Now for that little, just to make those pages pop really good, especially on the big ones. It's just dry brushing. This is a beat up old fan brush. You can use a regular brush. Good use for beat up brushes. Dry it off as much as you can and just take your stroke and put it down ever so lightly. It doesn't need a lot, just to make those pages pop instead of looking like a white brick. Again, not necessary, but something I like to do. I think I will show here the difference without it, and then you can see. That's in a minute. But for right now, we're going to use some Sharpie. So again, very important to brace your hands, which I'm doing here, making sure I'm really good, and use the Sharpie and just lightly touch it. Now these areas are raised. I don't know why the two small books, they didn't fill that in with the black paint that was on the larger books, but I want it to look the same. But just hold that Sharpie ever so softly and it will just touch the raised areas, and voila, you got something that should have been there, now there. Using that same Sharpie technique, I've just gone along and done the same thing with all these extras for more color and definition. At first, Sharpie, as you handle it with your fingers, the oils, it will kind of rub off easy. In time, it does set and stain, as we've seen on Barbie faces. And, well, any doll faces that kids have gotten the Sharpies to. So here, I'm doing the full detailing. Full detail in as what I have done to these books. So I find that the top is so perfectly done, and then when you set it on the side, they're not. So I just use the Sharpie to finish that full 3D look by taking these corner edges and repeating them and bringing them around to the sides of the book. And it's just a simple thing, but it really looks good when it lays there. The back, of course, doesn't have to be done, but again, when you get around to that edge, it just looks really good. I'm kind of like, well, I'm here, I might as well do it right? So I'll just continue with that. This is all speeded up, but it really becomes very simple. Another example, here's the silver. Just do that same thing, catching the texture that's already there. If you do mess up, as I just did there for a second, quickly rub it off and it will come off and be out of your way. So now you can see how those look, which look fantastic. I like. So my next step that I like to do is take a little puffy paint. The glitter paints work better for these ones because it's clear, so it really makes it no fail. If you had a more solid color, this probably wouldn't work so good. You got to be pretty precise with a solid color puffy paint. Now I'm not squeezing puffy paint out here. I'm just dragging it to make it look a little more magical. Two quick little eye dots for the raven head that's up there. At least I think it's a raven head and I like it. And then the binding on the side, the little lines, I had done them with the white primer as a base. You can do it any color. And then I'm putting just a little silver glitter puffy paint. Again, that glitter stuff is much easier, especially with such a fairy tale theme. It makes it total no fail. Okay, I think here, well, I guess I didn't show you how that looked without the gray dry brush on it. Here's an overall view of my after and the different colors, and all of them, some is done with puffy paint and some is with the Sharpies, and I think you can tell the difference. Here I used a different shade of gold than what was already there. That really brought some life to Ashlyn's. Cerise's, the Ever After High, wasn't quite as high. That one was a little bit trickier, but they're definitely looking good. Here is how these turned out, the book party purses. They look fabulous now. Now that's like quality. I just love it. I love it. Again, you all know I'm a little bit of a book nerd, even though I don't have time to read books. I have a special affinity for things like that. This one really needed that tie to be different. That's for Gingerbread House. The Barbie book looks fantastic. And here is what I did for detailing all these little cocktail drinks. NA, of course, to put in all the rooms wherever they should be for a nice detail. I love them. Oh, and those are for Holly O'Hare. Some hairsprays and stuff. Some products for her shelf she was missing for so long. I love these little things. And this has been a very relaxing session. I took down my Christmas tree finally yesterday. And I just wanted to sit, breathe, and paint. Do you ever get you just want to paint? So here's the before of those books. And here's the after. Thanks for spending time with me on my little dollhouse projects and ventures. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.